Welcome back to Beyond Belief. I'm your host, Tyler Redman, and today we're talking about the only person you need is you. Let's get into it. Oh my gosh, guys, welcome back to Beyond Belief. As I mentioned in our intro, my name's Tyler Redman, and I am so excited you are joining me here today, guys. I I'm so excited. I almost can't keep it in. I am on the very first hours of a beautiful little 5-day vacation. It's a staycation for me, and that's okay. I'm hoping maybe I'll get to film an extra podcast episode. Is it going to be next week's podcast episode, or is it just going to be one to kind of keep in the bank for a week? Maybe I can't record. I don't know yet, but I am so excited. I have so many plans for what I want to do. Uh, and I just can't wait. This time off for me is so deeply needed, especially after the last few months. I don't know about your job, but for me, it has just been like day after day of just like the grind. And not not in a good way, not in a fun way. I mean, sometimes my breaks at least have literally been just to step away. And, like, that's a shame, like, normally, my breaks are slightly, um I try to do something in my breaks, but lately, it's literally like, I just need to step away and breathe. Like, today, even though it was my last day before this 5-day break, I literally, walked outside just to breathe the fresh air and be like, hey, it's okay. We're about to have a beautiful, beautiful 5-day break. But that's just a little bit that's going on with me, guys. Go ahead and leave in the comments right now. I want to know how your week's going. I want to know what's going on. Any big updates in your life? Like, comment, and go ahead and share right now. This is your opportunity to share this podcast. I know today's episode is meant for someone. So go ahead and get it to that someone. And again, if you haven't already, click subscribe. It really helps this channel grow. All right, guys. So before we really get into our topic today, I also want to go ahead and talk about just some fun things that I've been doing in the realm of Beyond Belief, the podcast. And it it might seem small to you, but it's just so fun and exciting for me. I have just recently started kind of planning out what do I want this podcast to look like set wise. So I've actually started creating my wish list. I'm getting lighting as well as microphone updates and things of that nature to just help level up this podcast to where I want it to be. And it has been so fun and exciting planning out that set of what I envision our set looking like one day. It is not always going to be just me in my desk chair here talking to you camera to camera. And as I've mentioned so many times now, I want to have guests, and I think we may have to do Zoom calls for a few of them, and that's 100% okay. But I want to be able to create an inviting atmosphere for engaging conversation that I think each of us, myself included, really want to see on this podcast episode. I've even got comments coming in on people they would love to see on this podcast, and I am 100% going to take them up on that, but we're building that foundation, right? So I'm just wanted to share some of that with you guys. Again, it's so exciting for me. And on this 5-day break here, I'm probably going to spend even more time going through that list and set designing and designing how I want the future of Beyond Belief to look like. But that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get into the main topic I wanted to jump in on today. I was scrolling through TikTok the other day, which is almost a bad habit, so I'm going to have to watch myself now that I think about it. But as after I posted, I was scrolling through TikTok on my podcast page, and I stumbled upon this video. And I unfortunately I don't know the speaker's name. It didn't list a name, but it was a podcast, funny enough, and they were doing this interview, and the speaker said something that really uh it hit me. Um he talked about how often people tend to cheer for the people who need it the least. So let's kind of unpack that statement here. W- What was he saying? People tend to cheer for the people who need it the least. Have you ever noticed when people are already winning, that's who gets the most cheers? They and we all do it. You can think of a celebrity or maybe the person you want to be in your community and your friend group or whoever it is. There's so many people that are cheering them on as they're already winning. But if you turn that around and you look at those people who are just starting, those people doing maybe a podcast or starting a business, um, so many different ventures and new things people can be doing in life. If you look at how the vast majority of people treat those who are starting something new, you realize, wow, most people don't cheer for them. They truly don't. And that doesn't mean those people don't have, the supporters and a close support system, cuz they often do. But by and large, they don't have people cheering them on for success. And as I thought about that, I began to kind of dig out my opinions. Tyler, why do you think this is the way that us as humans we react to one another? Why is it so easy for us to cheer someone who's already winning, who already has it all, even who isn't struggling? Why is it so easy to cheer them on, but we can't cheer the people who are just starting? In fact, the people who need it the most. Why are we so hard? Why is it so hard for us to cheer those people on? And as I begin to think about it more, it began to occur to me, is it possible that the reason we can't cheer on our friend who just started a new business or just started that YouTube channel, just started a podcast, they are posting on TikTok and they're getting that following, but it's not anything special. They're writing a book, they're doing this, they're doing that. Is it possible that the reason we can't support them, we can't cheer them on, is it possible that that is because they're doing what we want to do, but they had the courage to take the step? I'm asking you. So, if that hits you, if that convicts you, if anything, that's on you. I'm just asking the question. Is it possible that our biggest problem with them is actually they took the step to do something that we were too scared to do? Are we letting our own fear of failure stopping us from cheering those on around us? Because I think it's entirely possible that that is one of the number one reasons. Why is it that you so immediately speak death to a new thing someone else is starting? Why is it you start telling them, "Hey, that business is gonna fail. You don't have it in you. That podcast is gonna fail. That YouTube's a joke. There's no way you're gonna be successful there. You can't have a following. You can't write a book. You can't do this." Is it that we're attacking them because we don't want them to succeed? Because if they succeed, then that means the only thing holding us back was ourselves? And how do you face the fact that others are doing the very thing you want to do because they weren't held back by their own fear? Again, that question's for you. I'm not gonna answer it for you today. I can't answer it for you. So have some self-reflection there and let that hit you where it needs to. And if it didn't hit you, rewatch it. But after I'd watched this TikTok video, I kind of knew I was going to talk about it. And I was trying to think of other examples of maybe a different perspective, a different narrative, something else, and I just happened to stumble upon, not stumble, it auto played on Spotify. One of my favorite pastors that has came to my church for some events we've had before. The one and only Real Talk Kim, and she was preaching this really great on time message. I'm not going to talk about that message though, but rather a moment that you find she does so often, even in her preaching, right? And in the middle of her message, she goes from delivering this word to preach, Kim, preach, and it's one of those great moments that I enjoy. But you bring that back into this people cheer for the people who need it the least. Think about other pastors or public speakers or other people you know who are successful, like Real Talk Kim. If you look at Juanita Bynum in the message I've spoken on many times on this podcast before, she has a moment where she says, "I ain't looking for your amen. I came in with my own amen." So what is it that we can get from both of these strong leaders, both of these strong speakers? There's more power to the words that they're releasing there than just boosting themselves up. What they are doing is they are providing the power to push themselves forward to where they need to go. And yes, what they're doing is preaching the word. What they're doing is a God thing. But we can take that ourselves. My hands aren't in frame. We can take that ourselves and apply it internally to whatever that thing it is. So instead of preach, Kim, preach, it's Tyler, I know you have everything you need in your hands today, in your mind to build this podcast. I know the ideas are going to flow as soon as you apply yourself. I know you're going to be able to edit reels and edit your videos at a faster pace with more excellence the more you do it. I know you have what it takes to build an audience of 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. I know you're going to get there. I know you're going to have a monetized channel. I know that you have the potential that what you're doing today is laying a foundation for not just what you do for fun, but what becomes a career. But that's just me talking on me. How do you use that for you? The same way I just use me as an example. That's how you start speaking for yourself. That's how you start speaking to you for your business. You start saying, "Hey self, I know that we don't have the people supporting us we want supporting us. I know they said it'll fail, but I am determined. I know I have what it takes. I am willing to do what I must do to succeed." Yes, they've spoken these ill words, these poor things over me. Yes, it's like they don't notice me. It's like I don't even exist. But I'm doing this for me. I am able to do all that God says I can do. And if God has said this business is for me, this podcast is for me, this YouTube, this whatever it may be, if he said it's for me, then it will be regardless of what those people cheering for me or not cheering for me say. Because at the end of the day, yes, people aren't cheering for the people who need it the most. But if you, as the person who's not getting that cheering, if you just take the power of knowing that those outside voices, they do not matter. They do not matter. They hold no weight in where you're going. They hold no weight in how valuable you are. All they are is outside noise, which is a distraction. So don't be distracted by outside voices. Don't let the outside voices stop your success. Don't let the outside voices come in and ruin something before it's even started. Don't let them corrupt what is pure and new. And I hear you now. I already see the comments, guys. You're like, well, Tyler, but my mom said blah blah blah, and my dad said, he knows someone like me could do it, but he just doesn't see it. So what? One of the things that is so common, those people closest to you are the first to tell you you're gonna fail. They're the first to hold you back. They're the first to hold you down. They're the first that will prevent you from succeeding as long as you let them speak down to you, because they are too close to see where you're going. And that's something people don't talk about. I mean, let's just talk about that for a second. There's outside voices, but there's also inside voices with outside appearance. And we've talked about this on the podcast before. There's different levels of relations, right? You have an inner circle, an outer circle, and then more just acquaintances, right? Sometimes that inner circle, because they're so closely connected to you, they know almost too much, you could say. They can't see how you get from point A to point B because they know point A so well that point B is unrecognizable to them. And us as people, in our very nature, we don't appreciate change. And so because we don't appreciate change, it's hard to see those people that are so close to us change. It really is. So you will speak to them in a way that prevents that change. And there is a level of selfishness to it, right? Because you don't want them to change because you want to stay comfortable with who they are. And there's that internal fear of, if they change, one, will I know them? Two, will they still be close? Will we still be friends? Whatever it may be. And the reality is, if they don't change, you definitely aren't going to still be friends. You're definitely not going to still have a close connection because they will resent you. And if they do change and there is a separation, sometimes that's intentional. Sometimes you're too close to the wrong people. And it's only when one or the other finally starts to grow into something new, into that new season, that can be released so that both parties can grow and succeed. So don't let the outside voices interrupt your future. Don't let them speak death into whatever you're doing. I don't care if you just are posting funny TikToks that because you want to make other people laugh and you're telling jokes you want to tell, and your friends or your family are saying, "Hey, that's dumb. I don't care. If that's all it is, I don't care if you were just drawing little stick figure comics and you're just passing them out from time to time. It can be small, it can be big. I don't care what you're doing. Don't let the outside voices prevent you from growing into your next. Because the only one who loses is you. You'll only feel the loss for yourself. And you deserve to win because there's a winner inside of you. And whatever you're doing today, I can't wait to hear about how you're turning it around. I can't wait to hear about your testimonies of how you had all these outside voices coming in, but you have changed your own thinking. You're encouraging yourself now, and your project is blowing up, and it is so successful. I can't wait. I hope you return to this video and leave in the comments about how different things have been since you've changed your perspective. Because I know as soon as you do, so much is going to change for you. And I'm excited for you. And I'm an outside voice, but I am cheering you on. And I hope you're cheering me on too. And with that, guys, that is going to do it for our episode today. I hope you had a great time. I know I sure loved everything we talked about today. Um, I think this is one of the more fun episodes that I've had for me personally. And so I just hope that you gained something today. Go ahead, leave a like, comment, share. Hit that subscribe button, guys. I want to hit 500 subscribers before we go into winter, and it takes each and every one of you. So if you want to go ahead and hit that subscribe, let's get us there. And until next Friday, have a good one.